Hello, in today's video I just wanted to let you know I am not going to get straight to the point. I'm letting you know that ahead of time for just in case if you thought I was just going to give you an immediate answer. And I'm going to be talking about myself because I can't exactly help it, okay? Everybody's a narcissist online. And speaking of online, that's kind of the whole point of this video. And I don't even know what I'm going to title it, but basically, online, people are just, they just don't really have a way of, being offline, like they're so addicted to the internet that their offline life is just a side quest, to a lot of these people. And even if they have a life at all, which they often do, one of the problems is that they're always scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on YouTube Shorts, scrolling at all on these websites. It's not the best. It's not the greatest to have. To have the internet in its current state. And it makes it really, really hard for reality because in the real world, we don't really have, because of, online being the third space, well, technically fourth, but, for a long time now, the internet just sort of became the third space. One of the bigger problems is that it's only certain websites and it's only certain places, that kind of thing. And not every website has a terms and services or list or whatever. And the reason why you might think that it does is because most people only really go on the major websites, that kind of thing. But when it comes to the major websites, stuff like YouTube and X, and also, I guess, technically Reddit. But then there's also, what's it called? Instagram. There was TikTok for a while, but that website kind of fell off, Like, it's still a really, 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 really dominant site, but it's nowhere near as it was in 2022, for example. You know what I mean? Like, that website that app really fell off. Now, you don't really hear that anymore, You don't really hear that word fall off as much. Like, you hear it's coded. Oh, it's, cringe or something. Like, that still goes around, Things like that. But, you never, really hear them say words like fall off and stuff like that. And it changes language a lot, too. But one of the biggest problems is, again, it really does affect the real world. People like to say, oh, but it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me in the real world. Okay, why are you watching this at 4 a.m? Explain to me that. You individual, I have no idea who you are. You could be literally anybody. And it might not even be 4 a.m., okay? It might be, a different time of day. It might be afternoon. I don't know. But what I can say is this, is people need to be in reality more, And if you are online, when you are online, You don't need to always be on the big places. You don't always need to be doom scrolling. And you might go, well, yeah, that's great and all, but just let others do it. There's the problem there. Here's something I like to call the McDonald's salad problem. It's named after the fact that when the McDonald's salad started to become a thing, I want to say around the 2000s, a lot of people just didn't want to buy it after huge amounts of pressure, after huge amounts of, hey, why don't you have healthy things to add on to your menu. People just didn't really buy McDonald's salad because they wanted other people to buy McDonald's salad. They wanted other people to do, the healthy route. In reality, most people just wanted the cheeseburger or like whatever, they order at McDonald's, if they order at McDonald's at all. But it doesn't just apply to food, it can apply to anything, this McDonald's salad problem. And that is, you see, there are people online that are just like, oh man, you gotta touch grass. You gotta stop being so chronically online. But they are themselves chronically online. Some people call that an homonym, but that's kind of hard to pronounce, and not everybody knows what that means, and not everybody cares. It just sounds like something you just made the fuck up. Now, excuse me for the language, but I often do that a lot on this channel, so if you don't like it, well, you're the one who decided to click on this video. It's not like you had to watch it anyways. Regardless, people are the most extreme or the least extreme of every single thing. There's no in the middle ground. There's no, oh, it just is. There's no absolute rule of anything. You might think, oh, but there are limits to the internet, da 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 da. Or you can't make infinite time. Yeah, you can't make infinite time in one's lifetime, but you can technically, or actually, scratch technically, you can make infinite time digitally. So there is a way of doing that, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be immortal. You can be immortalized, as in, people will remember you for a really, really long time, but it's nothing really absolute permanent, that kind of thing. And it just is what it is, Some people are remembered longer than others, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't be forgotten, Like Socrates will eventually be forgotten. Jesus Christ, as in, who he was historically anyway, or what they currently call him, how they currently believe him, people will forget about that as well. That kind of stuff. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but like you could see it that way. You could be like a Christian right now and be like, what are you talking about? People are never going to forget Jesus or something. That's not what I'm referring to. If there truly is a God out there, in your exact way, in your exact religion, regardless if they remember him as Jesus or not, it's still God, Like, people don't forget God, Jesus or not. Like, because, the Trinity and stuff like that. But enough about that, I'm getting off topic. It makes it so hard to try to live in the real world because they're so addicted to being online that trying to have a genuine conversation offline, anyway, seems completely foreign to these people. And they're like, oh yeah, you can go offline. You're supposed to go offline. I want you to be offline. But they're not offline themselves. They're chronically online. And I know, I'm an IRL maxer. At least I call myself an IRL maxer. What does that mean? It means somebody who uses their life in a way where they're like, in one way or another, intentionally trying to live in real life. You know, it could be from staying away from offline, or it could just be like getting used to it. But here's the thing. You're not going to automatically adjust. You're not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to start IRL maxing and instantly start doing it. Like, no, that's not what's going to happen. You know? It's like getting up too fast. You get up too fast and you start going a little shaky, you know? Like it gets you in a certain space or whatever. Like, people are not very good at transitions, you know? Ask me, you should probably stop drinking coffee or caffeine or stuff like that and drink water. Drinkable, clear water, okay? That kind of thing. And the reason why people like clear water more than they do, water that's still clean, that isn't clear, is because clear water is a more obvious sign that it's clean, you know? Because they expect water to, like, clean water to be clear nowadays. You know, like, that's the ideal water now. You know, like, you couldn't just have a bit muddy water. Oh no, you gotta have it clear. But then the problem is sometimes they dye it clear. That's right, they can dye water clear. But you wouldn't know that if I haven't told you. And it makes it like, it can only last for so long, but once the dye wears off, it does, change its color. It does make it look all yucky. But again, I'm getting off topic. I want you, yes, you, the person who's watching this video, and the person who sent you this, if you got sent this video for some reason, I want you to, be in the real world. I want you to, live a real life. That kind of thing. Instead of worrying about the latest current drama or whatever, or just doom scrolling, because people are so used to it now, they don't even think about it. Like, have you ever just be watching a YouTube video and you just want to, like, go look at another? You're looking, like, you're looking at the description, you're looking at the comment section, because I know a lot of you motherfuckers are. Okay, I know a lot of you people are. Because you gotta understand, it's like, you're so algorithm heavy that it kinda just makes you not think about it. And I want to say 2020 was like the turning point of this, but 2022 was the year that really normalized this behavior. Like, it went from being the majority to being justified and normalized, you know? Like, if you're gonna be online day to day, at least just, use it every once in a while instead of being chronically online all the fucking time. Like, why don't I have friends? Why don't I have, people to depend on? Because you're afraid of meeting strangers. Everybody's like a narcissistic introvert online, even the most extroverted, friendliest person, offline, online, well, they become a 4chan user, you know, like they have some questionable tweets, that kind of thing. And I'm not saying you have to agree with every single thing that I am saying. You don't have to like it. You don't have to enjoy it, you know, that kind of thing. But again, I'm not trying to take the internet away from you. Obviously, you're watching this by the internet, and you wouldn't have gotten this information otherwise if it wasn't for me posting it in the first place. Obvious fucking Lee. But here's the thing. You gotta start living in real life, because if you want that, original lifestyle, if you want to be that person with a true personality, with a true worldview that isn't from somebody else, as in, you only get your current opinions from, just anybody, or anybody, even the people you, or nobody, even the people you agree with. It's still kind of an issue, because you don't get a chance to really actually have it, Like, I'd rather, say, back onto religion, like I was talking earlier in this video, and I think I'm going to add this as a portion of the video, but, to make it on topic. I'd rather somebody be a Christian because they genuinely believe it, and they genuinely decided to become a Christian, and they actually believe in the stuff they believe in, and they can form their own original thoughts and opinions of their own religion, and know where their flaws are, know what to criticize of their own beliefs that should deserve criticism, let the bad things be bad things, and let the good things be good things, and recognize them as such. Let the demons out. Let leave them out of here, and put the good angels in. I'm speaking in metaphors, but you could take it literally if you want. I don't know. But I think you get the idea. You should be allowed to acknowledge, where your religion has flaws. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't be allowed to be religious, or that you shouldn't be allowed to be Christian, because obviously you are. I can't say 100% for, say, other religions like Islam, because I'm not exactly familiar with Islam, because, it's just different. Either then it's monotheistic, like they worship one God. There's not much to really know, either than you can look it up yourself if you're curious. That kind of thing. But that's beyond the point. Anyway, regardless if it's Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, if you're right-leaning, left-leaning, regardless of your race, ethnicity, languages that you speak or don't speak, write and can't write in, read and can't read, I think you get the idea. Everything that could make you similar or the same, different or completely different from somebody else, regardless if you liked something they said, disagreed with something they said, or are neutral on those things, or don't even know those things exist. Here's the thing. You don't have to all have it online. Okay? You don't have to have it all digital. If you ask me, the best way to have a real life is kind of have the internet on the side. Not really like a side hustle, not necessarily a hobby, but more of just like, oh, you just so happen to have a digital version of, you, that kind of thing. And people think they have to, online, at least on the major platforms, think they have to be like a slightly more exaggerated and person, and they think they have to be some sort of like they think that like just every extreme there could ever extreme, you know? And it's not just a generational thing or a certain websites thing. It's an internet culture thing, because people are just so used to that. They forget that, hey, maybe being extreme is not exactly the best way to do things. Now, it can be for certain things, but you have to know what to be extreme on, what to not be extreme on. And even with those things, it's like, why are you being extreme? Why can't you just do the thing or not do the thing? Whatever it may be, I don't know. I'm being vague intentionally because there's just so many ways you could interpret this kind of thing. It's so vague. It's so, out there that if I were to give a specific situation, there will always be somebody that's like, actually, this, and this. But guess what? You're still doing it online. So you're kind of proving my point for me regardless. But again, that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be online, or that I should take technology away from you, make everybody under 16 younger than 16 years old completely banned from the internet. I'm not gonna pull a United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Like, I'm not gonna be doing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that kind of individual. I'm not that kind of guy. But you know who I am? I'm somebody who formed my own personality, and you might not agree, and you might agree, or have neutral opinions on the things that I do or don't say. But there might be things that yourself, to your own things that you agree or disagree with, or somebody else that's completely unrelated to me, But whatever, all I'm gonna say is, don't be a crazy person. Keep your personal life, personal and offline in general, Unless it's like absolute emergency, for some reason you might have to take it online. That kind of thing where you have to do it in like, I don't know, immediate now, or at least just like one of those kind of things where you have to let people know, like there's no other way except letting people know online. But if there are offline options where you can do it privately behind closed doors, or at least just in a situation where you don't have to constantly get everybody in the world involved, then go ahead. Well, everybody that's online anyway. I'm telling you that I have hope in this world, okay? I have a chance that you can do this, okay? That you can get offline. You might go, why would you have hope in me? I'm a nothing NPC, nobody loser who's like a chud who has nothing better else to do except being unemployed and doom scrolling. Well, I say, first of all, you don't have to be that way. You want to be that way. You choose to live that kind of lifestyle. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. I'm not that kind of person. Okay? I'm not the kind of person to be a true chud, if you will. I'll never truly understand that life. I'm not going to go around and be like those women are like, oh, it's this lady. The YouTube title name. You don't understand this and this and this. I understand you're a child. I understand you. But no, you really don't. You really don't understand, what it's like to be like somebody like me, or be like somebody like you, Like, nobody's gonna fully understand it, Even if you're the most generic, average individual, Not everybody's like that. Okay? There might be a lot of people similar or the same as you, but nobody's gonna be 100% exactly the same. But you can make it look like it, though. You can make it look like the same, and people just like, they're used to seeing patterns they're familiar with. So they're just all obsessed with trying to look like this person. You know, they're trying to look like me, they're trying to be like me, or they're trying to be like you, you know, or somebody else. But, here's the thing. They don't have to be that way. You can be you, I can be me. That's it, okay? All I'm saying is, if you're gonna be original, at least be your own original, okay? At least be your self-original, in real life original. Because what's more original than being in real life, okay? Because being on the internet, it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy that was a copy that was made by a copy, and nobody knows who the original is, because the original was in itself a copy. You see the point I'm trying to make here? It does drive people crazy, and this video is a bit longer than I expected it to be for this specific kind of topic, but it does make you think, don't it? I mean, obviously you speak English enough, at least I'm assuming, to watch this video, or what I like to call English anyway. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think people need to get offline more? Do you think people are in this crisis? Because I don't know if it applies to whenever you're watching this video. I have no idea. I honestly don't. And I don't really care. But I'm gonna post it anyway, because if I can get even just one person, that one person probably being me anyway, but maybe you watching this, if I can at least just get one person to live the IRL lifestyle actually in real life and encourage it in actual real life, where they can spread that message and just get it out there, or at least just have that one individual, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that result. But it's not a guarantee, because it is the internet, and they're not exactly kind to humans like myself. So, you know, crazy existence we got here digitally. But anyway, yeah. Again, do you have any answers, thoughts, ideas, facts, questions? Things you would like to know? Maybe some unrelated stuff? I don't know. Or anything you might want to bring up? Or anything you think I should have mentioned or didn't mention? Or whatever. Well, anyway. Yeah, again, I think you get the idea. It's the end of the video. Now I'm going to actually end it instead of just yapping on it. And, well, I guess practice what I preach and do what I like to call, anyway, the in real life maxing. So, yeah. It's, up to you on what to do with this information, okay? I don't know, twin. But I'm gonna get out of here because, you know, I got other things to do. At least for now. So, regardless if you, see me or if you don't, I am out of here. Alright? Bye.